Hey, Sagittarius, and welcome to your mid to end September 2021 tarot reading. We're going to do something a little different here. We're going to do a 3-card spread. I'm calling Step Back, Stay, Step Forward. Pretty self-explanatory. The first card is going to be if you want to step back from a situation, you kind of want to get away from it in that way. Not necessarily a bad thing. The cards will kind of reveal themselves on whether they are or not. The middle card will be if you want to stay put where you're at, if things are going good, you want to maintain this. And the last card will be about stepping forward and moving on into something else. If you, again, you don't like stepping back or you don't like staying put, you want to move on to something else. So thank you for being here, Sagittarius. I appreciate it so much. Hopefully this is going to help you out. Hopefully this is going to resonate you, or at very least give you some options or give you something just to think about here, Sagittarius. So thank you again for being here, and let's get into this. Oh, but real quick, just because I'm doing 3 cards, I'm not going to be doing any clarifiers here for this, but that just means I'm going to be talking a bit more in depth about the cards and the situation and everything here. So we've got here for you, we've got the 6 of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Judgment card. All right, so it's an interesting reading here with the Judgment card, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But we'll start, of course, with taking a step back with the 6 of Pentacles. This is just kind of being more of a balanced life, like moving back into balance, kind of moving back into solid foundations, and moving back into maybe you were a little more generous in the past, right? Maybe a little more. I don't want to say like. It could have been like generous with your time, with your money, of course. Been a little more generous that way. But of course, you maintained yourself as well. And that's really what the 6 of Pentacles is about, is that you can be generous with your time and your money all you want, but make sure you have enough for yourself. And so you may want to take a step back from that, because the Wheel of Fortune here in your maintained position, I'll talk a bit about it here in just a moment, but it's kind of looking like maybe this is a situation where money has changed you a bit, and you may not even you may not realize that. That may not be the case as well. These are general tarot readings here. I'm just gonna get a cat here. It's bothering me. Okay, sorry for that. But this is it could be just a situation where money kind of changed you a bit, and not necessarily for the better. Could it, you could have maintained it. You could still be very generous presently, but it's possible that money has changed you, and it's maybe taking a step back to the way you were before and being a little more generous and being a little more how you used to be there, and be a little more generous and balanced. So that's what we got so far. And if you want to maintain what you got, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, and that is a card of maintaining things too. You see the snake down the side here kind of represents the vibrations. I always say with the Wheel of Fortune, it's a card of you get what you give with it, right? So if you're giving negative emotions right now in the situation you're in now, if you're putting out negativity, you're putting out a lot of bad vibes and things like that, and a lot of just like I can't do this kind of feeling, the Wheel of Fortune is going to keep giving that to you. And very much that's kind of how this middle position works. It's like, yeah, you want to keep that up, then keep it up. On the other end, if you're doing a lot of positive things and you're putting out a lot of positive energy, the Wheel of Fortune is going to continue to do that. So again, if you like where you're at, and you just like, I like being where I'm at, and you kind of keep putting that vibe out, the Wheel of Fortune is going to be like, yeah, let's keep giving you reasons to stay where you're at here. Again, I touched on it ever so slightly where I said money might have changed you. The Wheel of Fortune is a card of fortune and good things coming in for you. So it could have been a case where you won a bunch of money or something, or you've got a higher paying job now, and it's kind of put you, like, if we're to say, look at this in a negative way, like I say, money changed you, something has changed you, and not entirely for the better. And you kind of moved away and became a little more selfish. And that's not a bad thing, right? I watched a video the other day by Lindsay Ellis. She does wonderful like little video essays and such about all sorts of things. She's an author too, I believe. But anyway, she did a video about narcissists and how people with narcissist personality disorder, which this was very interesting for me because this is kind of how I got into tarot and stuff, because I dated a narcissist. Anyhow, and he talked about how they're not necessarily bad people, and that we all need a little bit of a narcissist in us, kind of, because like we kind of need to be, because narcissists ultimately they want to do good, like, and they want to be well liked, and they want to, you know, that's kind of the thing, but they kind of take it to an extreme in some cases and don't want to admit that. And that's very much like when I was dating her, that was very much not Lindsay Ellis, but you know, but when I was dating my ex, that's very much how she was. She was very much, she just wanted to be liked and things like that. And she wouldn't take no for an answer and didn't understand why I didn't understand like her craziness to it. But like that we all need a little bit of that narcissist in us because that's kind of like how we have our values and how we know what our worth is and things like that, right? But it's just when you go overboard, you get into that bad territory, right? And that might have just been what happened here with the Wheel of Fortune. Maybe that money has kind of changed you, and like I said, not entirely for the better, or this good fortune or whatever it is kind of tipped you a little too far down that scale, right? And this person here's holding the scales perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And it might have tipped the scales here, and not necessarily for the good. But if you like what you got, again, just maintain it. Like, just keep going. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to move on here, we've got the Judgment card. And this is where, like I talked about, this is kind of a funny one here. The Judgment card, as you can see, these people are rising up out of all these caskets here in the water. And it's kind of like a rebirth of something, which is interesting that that's in your step forward position, because something's coming back from the dead. It's almost as if you're taking a step back to step forward, right? Like it's back to the future, right? Like it's that kind of a thing. It's really strange that that's where that popped up in. I find that very interesting. But yes, it's just this kind of angel is trumpeting, calling, reviving these people from the past, from the dead, bringing them back. So it might be something where a step forward for you is kind of reviving something that you used to do, like this. This might not necessarily be a situation where it's like, I'm kind of seeing two things here, where it's the step back is kind of like, I quit this job that gave me all this money and power because I don't like what it did to me. And I'm going to go back to my other job, and where I could be more generous and I could be more of a person I like to be. But it could also be saying, like, you take a step forward, maintain this job maybe, and take a step forward, but imply, like, do this. Like, you take a step forward and you kind of combine these two, right? It's kind of like you're reviving this, but maintaining this, which I think is really, I'm knocking crystals all over the place, which I think that's a really interesting way to look at this. It's kind of like the best of both worlds, right? That's really awesome. Like, so potentially stepping forward for you is kind of bringing your values, bringing your know-how and such from the past to your present and moving those together into your future into a good way. So that's one option, which sounds fantastic. But another option with the Judgment card is kind of, you need to commit to something, right? The Judgment card is about you've decided on an action you're going to take, and you commit to it, and you're like, I'm doing it. This is what it is. I've already decided in my mind. Here I go. So if you want to move on from this, you need to be like, all right, I've done this, I've done that, I'm moving on, I'm stepping forward, I'm leaving all this in the past, and I'm committing to moving forward. So that's a pretty clear message. There's not a whole lot I can say about that, but I do find that first one I talked about very interesting here. So I'm really liking this. This is a very interesting reading, Sagittarius. I feel like there's no wrong answer. I feel like there's no wrong choice. There is no wrong choice in life, really. Very few wrong choices. Those ones are pretty devastating. The wrong choices that are definitely wrong choices in life. But with this, I feel like there's just nothing but good here. If you want it, if you want the good, there's nothing but you can do that here. I talked about a bit. I'll touch on here just at the end, where I mentioned, like, you're kind of feeding negativity to the Wheel of Fortune. If that's what you're doing, if you feel like you're in that cycle, just commit to getting out of that and commit to changing your mindset, or go back to being kind of generous and go back to kind of being balanced and stuff, because maybe this has kind of put you out of whack, and that's kind of what the negativity cycle has started here for you. So that is what I've got for you for this month. I hope this has resonated with you. Hope this has been helping you out. Maybe gave you some options, maybe gave you some things to think about here, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much. If you want to help out the channel, though, you can leave a thumbs up down below. Hit that like button. I appreciate that. If you want to, if you liked what you've seen here, you can hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, you get notified when I upload new videos. You can, of course, share this video with whoever you feel like sharing it with. And check out your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus sign videos too after this one. Thank you again for being here, Sagittarius, and I hope to see you in the next video.